at that time and decided I couldn't fix the Postal Service from the union side, so I decided to go to management. And he says, when you become boss, you got to be boss. And I think that's one of the things that's lacking. And I do want to point out one thing. There's a lot of people in here that's been here for a long time. They've held these public offices. I would be embarrassed to stand up and say that the roads are the problem we got in the county. What I will bring is I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe any favors to anybody. I am totally independent, and that's why I ran under the independent candidates. Because the party affiliations, and I'm not trying to be vindictive about this, but all the people that are here running for these offices, either the commissioners or the county judge, they've had the opportunity to fix this stuff for 20 years or longer, and they've not done it. Well, as my experience in the real estate business as far as appraisal goes, and as an equipment operator, I can go out there and I can do the job on all aspects of it without owing anybody anything, any favors, and that's, I think, my biggest asset. Thank you very much. Well, I want everybody to know I don't have anything written on the palms of my hands. For you guys, it's kind of an inside joke. One of the reasons that I decided to run is because, and the primary reason is that we got involved in a tax appraisal protest, and it has been a nightmare. I found that you were very shabbily treated. And I've not talked to any person that has not went in front of the review board that wasn't. What qualifies me, well, I was a real estate broker in Kansas, Iowa, and Nebraska. I've got a business degree. I own my own businesses. Next CB, and that probably qualifies me best for the main topic of this whole thing is roads. And I got to tell you, whoever is in charge of the roads ought to be fired. Absolutely. Because they are absolutely atrocious. It does not take a rocket scientist to understand that you have to have a crown in a road, and I don't think you need to go out and get a lot of material because there's a lot of material sitting on the side of the roads to be pulled back into the roads. We need to do something about our property taxes, and if you people think that this recession is over, I'm sorry, you are sadly mistaken. They have houses that are tearing down in Arizona and Nevada because the banks and lending companies don't want to deal with them. If that property gets so cheap in these other places, the people that came here through the past 5 years, which I'm one of them, okay, I retired, moved down here, they're going to take and sell out here and they're going to go back there. The property price values are going down in this state. Thank you. The reason why the questions were pretty good, but I guess I'm just going to roll back to the same thing that I'm going to hammer on, is that we've got to take and reform the property tax situation. Now, I'm going to make a lot of farmers and ranchers mad, but we've got 5 acres where our house is in town. Our 5 acres is assessed at $7,000 an acre. The guy right next to me, his land is farmland or ranch land, and it's assessed at $1,200 an acre. And there's no difference between the land here and the land here. Now, and I told you I was a real estate broker. I took the same courses that these appraisers that are appraising our property right now did. I don't have a license. I don't need a license to tell you. We're going to have to take and readjust the values of this property. I don't want to put the burden on the ranchers and farmers because they got enough problems the way it is. But at the same time, there's a lot of being subsidized. A lot of this, hunting situations or hunting farms around here that have the 8-foot and 9-foot fences around them, they're getting the same tax break as somebody that's working on a farm. The appraisal process and the review process absolutely has to be changed. It's like the chicken, what was it, the fox guarding a chicken coop? The taxing units, the school district, the county, and the city, they appoint the people to the review board and the appraisal board. So if you think you're going to get a fair deal going in there, the people that are on those boards are being appointed by the people that are doing the taxing. I think that has to be changed. I think that's one of the things that everybody in the county level has dropped the ball, the commissioners and the county judge, is that we need to go to the state legislature, and I absolutely know I'm an independent.
Time's up, sir.
Mr. Bonn.
Thank you, Morris.
I didn't have a crib sheet. I do. I will add one thing that he didn't bring up, and that is the chief officer of the county. In the case of disaster and homeland security, he is also the person that's in charge, and he will be the one running the emergency management with our emergency management officer. So he's the one that's the signature authority of the county. Probably the most important thing is preparation of the budget and making sure that all the different departments within the county can operate within the budget. Thank you. Well, this choice was a tough one for me because I just gotten elected to my second term, and by the statutes of the state of Texas, if you had more than 1 year left before the election, you would have to resign. So I gave up 3 years of my second term, and it wasn't given up lightly. In one word, I will say leadership. This county is losing a judge of 3 terms who exemplified leadership, and I didn't see any leadership coming forward, so I made the sacrifice. And as far as what I can bring to the table, I've heard a lot of ideas here with a lot of these candidates. Having served with my fellow commissioners for the last 5 years, some of these things that have been discussed are good ideas. Some of them won't float anyway. I know how to work with my fellow commissioners, and I know how the county works. I've been doing it up until the last, 2-3 weeks. There are some issues that need to be addressed, and I'm sure the follow-up question will bring it. But in one word, it's leadership, and I think that my experience will tell that I'm not a yes man, and I stand up for the taxpayers. And if I see some things that are going on that I don't approve of, and I don't think the taxpayers would approve of, I'm going to speak up. And one other thing is...
No, sir. Time's up. Everybody has a minute and a half. You're up next, sir.
Thank you. And thank you to the citizens that put me in office for the past 5 years. What I bring to it is current knowledge of the county and what problems there are and what successes there are. One of the successes that some of these people may not realize is our bond rating went from BB- to a AA+, or AA-, and that's because we don't deficit budget. We live within our means. My experience in the last 5 years on the court has taught me how to work with all the other elected officials. I admit I was naive when I first came to the court because I thought as an administrator that, you would be able to have things done. Well, you don't. You got to learn how to work with the people because every one of the elected officials, especially the ones that are here vying for office, have their own departments. But as the judge, you have to make sure they have the assets to do their job. Services are going to be one of the problems. The growing expansion of the county with the 130 coming through and probably a new city of 3,000 people in probably the next 20 years, services are going to be stressed. And you got to have somebody that knows how to deal with the budget to be able to apply the monies where they need to be. So I would ask for your vote. I'm a conservative, college educated. I've worked as a biologist for the Parks and Wildlife, 20 years military service, retired as a major. I was a pilot the entire time. I was a command pilot in the Army, and 22 years experience in the private sector with Motorola Communications. And through that experience, I was able to bring $3 million in...
Time's up, sir.